Is that loud enough? I didn't know. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the City of Paris Planning Commission meeting. Wow, April 2nd, 2025. Long way. And at this time, it's 6:04 p.m., we're going to have a roll call.
Commissioner Menez,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Here.
Vice Chair Shively,
Here.
Chair Hammond.
Here. At this time, item 3, Pledge of Allegiance, be led by Commissioner Jimenez.
Please stand.
At this time, item 4, there's no presentations. We move on to item 5, consent calendar. The Planning Commission meeting minutes for the March 19, 2025 meeting. Were there any corrections, additions, deletions? Okay. Oh, okay, okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I can just make an addition to item 6B,
6B, okay.
to add where we list the conditions that were required if the project was approved by the City Council. I would like to add, to amend condition of approval number 7 to correct the date from February 19th,
Oh.
2025 to March 19, 2025.
Yeah. And that was my suggestion, I forgot. To March 19th, yeah.
Thank
okay.
you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, at this time, we open up for public comment on the consent calendar, and this is for the public. If you'd like to comment on this particular item and this agenda item only, you're welcome to come forward. Close the public comment. And we come back to vote. Now, it was requested that item 6B, I think it was 6B, be changed from February 19th to March 19, 2025. So that's a correction. Okay, Sylvia, there we go. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Lopez,
I'll second.
Vice Chair Shively. Okay.
Commissioner Menez,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes.
With a vote of 5-0, this motion is approved.
Thank you very much. They get used to that Menez than Jimenez, right? Yeah. Easy to slip on him. At this time, we move to item 6A, public hearings. Conditional use permit 25-0001. Proposal to increase the capacity of an existing congregated living health facility, Sunny Sands Manor LLC, from 12 to 18 patients, located at 2263 Sunny Sands Drive on the east side of Sunny Sands Drive between Mountain Avenue and Mapes Road in the R10,000 zone. Requested action is adopt resolution 25-06, approving a conditional use permit 25-0001 to increase the capacity of an existing congregated living health facility from 12 to 18 patients based on the findings herein and subject to the conditions of approval. And as always, we're doing site visits, ad hoc committee meetings, and/or ex parte communication.
None for me.
None for me.
Not for me.
Yes, I actually went to the site for a while. Okay. We did receive, I know you were going to do it, a memorandum, Monica Carranza, attached for consideration are the revisions to Resolution 25-06, if you'd like to take a look at them, providing CEQA clarification to Section 2 and planning condition approval correcting typographical errors in conditions number 1, 22, 23. As we see in attachments, they're noted in red, and I think you'll probably go through them, but that's for the record. We're putting it in for the record and for our attorney, who I'm going to ask to introduce herself at this time.
Hi, everybody. Jessica Michelle Santiago, Deputy City Attorney, covering for Ben Jones tonight.
Thank you. All yours.
Good evening, Chairman Hammond and Planning Commissioners. My name is Monica Carranza, and today I will be presenting Conditional Use Permit 25-0001. The applicant, Jose Figueroa, is representing Sunny Sands Manor LLC, and it is proposing to increase patient capacity of an approved congregated living health facility from 12 to 18 patients. Here we go. So the project site is located at 2263 Sunny Sands Drive. It is south of Mountain Avenue, north of Mapes Road. It is surrounded by residential uses to the north, residential uses to the south, to the east, and to the west. The project site is zone R10,000, which means that parcels in this area have to be at least 10,000 square feet. For this neighborhood, most of the parcels are 0.86 acres, which is like 37,000 square feet. So they're pretty large, and most of them are consistent with this size. The zone allows for the residential care facilities with over 12 residents, subject to a conditional use permit. So a little background about this site. The site was developed in 1985 with a 3,262 single-family dwelling and a 438 square foot two-car attached garage. On October 3rd, 2024, the applicant submitted an application and was approved for a large residential care facility, permit 24-05-098, allowing for the conversion of a single-family dwelling and a garage into a congregated living health facility. The modifications for this approval include the addition of 11 residential rooms, a containment room, 5 bedrooms, a nursing station, a laundry room, a kitchen, a living area for a maximum of 12 patients. A congregated living health facility are residential medical care facilities providing inpatient care in a home-like environment, offering skilled nursing care for individuals with medical needs. This slide here shows the before and after with the modifications with the approval of the residential care facility permit. As you can see here, they have done some exterior paints to the fence as well as stuccoed it, and they have done some repainting of the facility. As you can see here is a closer look at the front entrance of the facility and the changes that they have done. This here are examples of the surrounding properties. They are compatible with the architecture, so the applicant's not proposing any changes to the site, it's only the use. As you can see here, most of the architecture here are large ranch-style or Spanish-style homes. The picture here, you can see a property adjacent. The one to the west of the project site has similar color schemes as what the applicant currently has. And there is another property that is being constructed with the same size. This is a street view. We have a North Street view at the top, and then at the bottom, we have the South Street view. you can locate where the project site is and how it relates to the surrounding neighborhood. Here's a site plan of the existing location. As I had mentioned, it consists of 0.86 acres of land. It is developed with a 3,700 square foot residence. It has a patio. It has two patios. Actually, one is attached and it's 480 square feet. The other one is 390 square foot patio. It has access from Sunny Sands Drive via circular driveway, so you can come in two ways. No modifications, as I was mentioning, are proposed on the site. It does have some outdoor amenity areas that add up to roughly 3,600 square feet on the rear of the property, similar to or analogous to single-family residential uses. In the proposed floor plan, you can see where they're proposing to add the 6 beds. In the previous approval, they had the 12 beds. With this proposal of the capacity, they will be increasing the occupancy of some rooms to have double patients. The congregated living health facility will operate it will be 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. with 24-hour patient care. The employees are a total of 5 at the largest shift, and it includes a registered nurse, a licensed vocational nurse, certified nursing assistant, a custodian, and a culinary person. There will be licensed vocational nurses and a certified nursing assistant on all the shifts throughout the days. And the transportation, the patients will be dropped off via the circular driveway from a medical transport vehicle from a hospital, and they will be picked up via a medical transportation to a skilled nursing facility, a nursing home, assisted living facility, rehabilitation center, or to a patient's home once they improve. The project complies with the development standards of parking, which is 1 space per 1 employee on the shift and the largest shift, including the operator. They are providing 6 spaces. The project is categorically exempt from the CEQA Environmental CEQA Act guidelines pursuant to Section 15301 for existing facilities. The project request is to add capacity and does not indicate or ask for modifications or additions to the site. The project was noticed to the required 300 feet radius, and staff has not received any comments for the project. Staff recommends Planning Commission approval to adopt resolution number 25-06, categorically exempting conditional use permit CUP 25-0001 from the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines pursuant to Section 15301 existing facilities, and approving conditional use permit 25-0001 based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval. This concludes staff presentation and opens to any questions or comments you might have. The applicant is present and for any questions as well.
Thank you, Monica. And at this time, does the applicant have a presentation or anything? This would be the time. Okay, just state your full name and spell your last name for us.
James Irwin, I'm a consultant, last Irwin, E-R-W-I-N. I'm a consultant to the applicant, Mr. Figueroa.
There we go.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. Essentially, to give more clarification on what these facilities are, the hierarchy of medical treatment in California, you have acute, which is the area hospital. Then you have subacute / post-acute, which the Cliff facility falls into. Then you have a nursing home, assisted living, and any other type of rehab facility. What these facilities do is they are meant to take pressure off of the local hospitals Currently, they're all overcrowded. They have hallway patients. They have patients everywhere. And there's a critical need for the subacute beds. So these facilities were created by the state in the Health and Safety Code. They're a unique carve-out. These facilities can only operate under this type of manner. They have ventilator patients, wound care patients, bariatric patients, patients that basically are able to be discharged to a higher level of care than that provided by a nursing home. So we're trying to fill a need for the community. So, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. These aren't drug rehabs. These aren't anything like that. These are medical care.
Okay,
And the state does require them to be residential in nature.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Stick around. Are there any questions at the time for the applicant and or the city? I have a few.
Thank you for being here. I have a quick question to the applicant. We received a letter from Mark Howder. In the letter, he was given the details of the operations.
Yes.
And my main concern is the parking, and visitation is allowed from 9 to 9 daily. Is there going to be like an appointment system so that it doesn't get overbooked with family and family members that are visiting the patients?
Unfortunately, these patients, it's kind of sad in a way, they don't receive a lot of visitors. A lot of them are indigent. A lot of the main provider of care that for these patients is IEHP. So it's the Inland Empire Health Plan is primarily. Some from Kaiser, some from University Healthcare, but mainly they're an Inland Empire Health Plan. So the visitations are very short in nature, and you might have one or two in a day, up to maybe 5 or 10 in a week. So it's kind of unfortunate.
Okay, and if the off chance that someone does come and visit, I know there's 0 parking spaces provided, extra parking spaces, so are they expected to park outside on the street or?
Yes.
Okay,
They cannot park in the driveway to block access for emergency vehicles. That's
okay, all right, thank you.
So, excuse me, James, the length of stay, is it, what's the average length of stay, or what's the intended length of stay per?
It can be weeks to years. And some patients do become deceased at these locations because they have no other place to go.
Somewhat more on a more permanent basis,
Yes.
theoretically?
Yes. And they're mainly non-ambulatory patients, meaning they're bedridden, or they might move in a wheelchair.
What's the policy for tandem parking?
In this case, because the tandem parking is provided for the employees only, it's not a parking that, where you're going to see activity from, like, the visitors coming and going. What they're providing would be adequate for this operation. It meets the width and the depth required for tandem parking.
So 1 accessible stall and 5 additional parking? Or is it 6 parking stalls plus 1 handicap stall?
Yes, so it'll be 5 parking spaces and 1 ADA.
But the requirement is to have 6 parking stalls for staff.
Plus the operator at their largest shift. So they will have also access in front of this car right here. So you can see in front of where it says setbacks. There's also
Additional parking and
Yes.
down the side.
That's required. Mhm. Yes, the purpose of this parking was to remain analogous to what's existing with the residential use, so it doesn't look like it's commercial.
So it's incentive not to be the first one to work.
This
Because you
is the
can't get out until everybody else leaves.
This is the first one that we have here in the city of Paris.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I have for now.
Can I ask what the patient to registered nurse and LVN ratio is in California for a facility of this type?
Type here basically is 1 per 6, and then analogous to a nursing home would be 1 to 20.
1 per 6? And you said you only have 1 RN and 1 LVN?
The RN is transitory. The RN is only during the daytime, and then in the evening, you have the LVN and the CNA for patient care.
And what are the requirements? Just because I have a lot of friends in nursing, usually the LVN has to be there overnight. There has to be a,
Yes, in the evening.
Okay.
So, but these are 12-hour shifts.
okay, so it's like everywhere. So you don't just have 1 LVN. It's going to be a number of LVNs, and there will always be 1 overnight.
Yes,
Awake. During the day, there will always be.
yes.
Okay. And can I ask why you're going from 12 to 18 beds? What led, I guess?
That's the maximum the state allows. And so originally, it was a 12-bed proposal, but we were able to work out the location to actually have 18. We have some that are 6, some that are 11, and this is the first 18.
Okay, so why wasn't it put in for 18 to begin with?
You require additional steps in the process.
Okay, so you can't just go to the max initially. You have to take those.
Local government has input in that process.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry. So our code, chapter 19.84, indicates that if they're going less than 6, they're allowed by right per the state. If they go up to 12, they have to come in and submit what is called the large residential care facility, which is what they did. And if they go above 12 patients, that's when a conditional use permit is required, which is why once they requested 18, they would have to come in and obtain the CUP.
and is there a max?
The code doesn't have a max, it just has above 12.
Okay,
The max would be up to whatever the facility would be.
okay.
Commissioner Jimenez, but the CUP that's in front of you today is to allow for up to 18 patients.
Applicant also indicates that state law caps it at 18.
Another question for the applicant. Generally, when it comes to this type of congregated health facility, is it typical to have more than 1 bed, multiple people living or in the room, in a single room
The
at
maximum is
once?
2.
Is it typical, though? Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Similar to basically a hospital, most of the time you have semi-private rooms, and then you could have a single patient room for isolation purposes to that effect.
Okay. Thank you.
Ready?
So I'm counting the beds, but I seem to be counting 19. Hopefully my number in math is off. But I seem to,
You are counting 19, one's for the operator, as required per the guidelines.
one is for a staff.
Yes, for the operator, yes.
Okay. All right, there's the extra bed.
Ready?
I'm still looking.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay.
So how many rooms are actually remaining single? Is it 3 rooms that are going to be single rooms still, or are they all going to get converted? Because I see a couple that,
Based on the diagram, it would be
4?
4, yes. 4.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have a few questions. I actually went there and sat out front of the facility, so I'm probably a little more familiar. I didn't even know this street was in Paris, for the truth. but that was a awakening thing. One of the things too I noticed, and if you look at the picture, actually you look at the picture of the facility, there's basically one entrance. I have a problem with parking issue. And I don't care what engineering can say whether they want, I have a problem. One of the things is you have this driveway, 6 parking spaces that are not really identified. It's really just a stacking, because it's not going in McDonald's, guys. So one of the things I'm looking at, and this may get you on the building and safety, SRC comments, and I do note these. Post-project must provide proper and approved fire access to the entire site. I'm assuming they're just going to, if there's a fire, you're going to have a problem. Plans to entire must identify ADA path of travel and comply with the currently adopted 2022 CBC Chapter 11B. Somebody can explain that to me. The other thing too, the top and the building is one thing, but I'm thinking if you're going to have visitors and they're going to be outside, that gate was open because I saw them making repairs, but that gate's going to always have to stay open. So if you don't have that gate open, we got a problem. Number 2, ADA. So you say there's not a lot of visitors. If I'm in a wheelchair out front and I have to wheel up in there, that's another issue needs to be addressed. And I think I just need to hear how you're going to do that, because I'd be suing the crap out of you. Okay, I'm just being honest with you. So having done ADA in Los Angeles, I'm a little bit more picky about that one. So if you're going to park out front and have to wheel or somehow manage to get through there up to the front door and not be able to drive up and drop off, maybe we can explain how that's going to happen. Those are 3 areas. So I'm going by the building and safety thing that's said here, and ADA path. Now the fire department, where if there's a fire and the cars are stacked there, the cars are going to have to get out some way. So the one to the north where you see that gate is not open, and there's not a paved driveway there. So they'd all have to come out where the original gate was. So if someone had an emergency or something to get out, you're going to have 3 people stop and back out. You know where I'm going with this, right? So I'm just saying maybe we need to clarify, and I'm very practical. We'd have to clarify how those people are going to get in and out if you're employees. Even if you say all 5 leave at once and all 5, that's not always going to be the case. It might be an emergency, they might have something, for whatever reason. But that gate that you see on the left side at the bottom was closed. The one on the right is open. So if I'm a visitor, you did have to have pre-appointment to know that I'm going to be there, or some manner of getting up there. If I'm not ambulatory, then I'm just wondering how we're going to deal with that, since there's not a paved lot to come out on the other side, which would make sense to me as an ADA route in and out, or a fire department in and out. So I'm just need some clarification of those issues. And if you could clarify that, and maybe our engineer can clarify that. I know it's a rural area. I know it's not going to be parking, but nevertheless, if you're going to be outside, you got to get inside. And so, that has got to be clarified for me. And maybe you can do it. But if I'm sitting out there, and I had a cane one time, and I was in a wheelchair one time, so I'm really attuned to that one, because I had the surgery and all kinds of stuff. So I know that one inside out, how difficult it is. So even if it's 5 or 4 or 3, what is going to be the plan to meet the building and safety standards and codes and to get in and out of that? That's for me.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Howder, last name Howder. A lot of questions. So I'm actually a captain for San Bernardino County Fire Department. And so I understand the justification for the need for having an engine pull in. No engine is going to pull that close to the house. We're going to park on the stage on the street, catch a hydrant, pull our fire hoses into the structure. But I think the way that we've laid this out is that the parking at the front with the wraparound driveway provides sufficient space between the vehicles and the rest of their driveway to have someone pull up and drop off. What we did is every room per state code has to have an interior and exterior door. So every patient is able to leave their room from the exterior of the building or to go into a main hallway and come out the main entrance of the building. So everyone has multiple access points to get in and out. As far as the gates, the only reason they're closed now is because construction is unoccupied right now. And we did have an instance where somebody broke in and ripped out all of our electrical, and we had to redo the electrical for the entire structure. So Right now, they're locked, but once someone's there 24 hours a day, there's no reason to have it unlocked. To have it locked. They'll be open the entire time. Vehicles can come and go, and also for non-emergency medical transport, they can come and go as needed, day or at night. Or if it's an emergency, they can come and go as they please also. So meeting the ADA requirements with the space and the egress and ingress needs of every patient, I think should be sufficient and standard for every patient in and out.
Yeah, it wasn't so much the patients, it's about visitors. If your visitor's parking out front and it doesn't look like the top, it looks like the bottom, because there's a little slope there. If I'm parked out front, I've got to get inside to visit.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm just saying, what is the process? I'm not trying to beat up on the agency, I'm just saying, give me a process, because it will happen sooner or later. If I want to visit, it might be that people don't do it normally, but that one person might. So I'm just saying that how, and in fact, I don't see parking space, I just see a stacked cars there, but I'm saying if I'm outside the gate and I need to get in a wheelchair, I'm going to have to go up and around to get in.
Across the little gravel space.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead. If you want.
How you doing? My name is Jose Figueroa,
Oh, spell it for her.
Figueroa. So the way we came up with this, with the planning, we have for visitors, we have the ADA parking and we have the ADA path to travel. They're gonna pull in where the old garage used to be. So that's how they're gonna enter the property. And you can see there that you have our ADA path to travel. I mean, and that's for visitors as well.
But you have most of the parking is out front, in front of the gate. And assuming if that space will be available, if I have to park out front, I still have to get inside. So in other words, I have to come to the gate to come all the way up there, assuming that that's not occupied. So when I talk about transport vehicles, we're talking about visitors. Okay, so if you have visitors from the outside, I'm just talking practical knowledge here. If you're outside the gate, you got to get inside. And so if that is even to get to that, you'd have to be able to get to that space. You have transport. We're not talking about vehicles that drop off people, But just like Metrolink has 15 spaces, there's nobody there, they still have to have them, right? Nobody uses those spaces there, but they have 15 spaces. I'm not talking about the wisdom of that. But you're required to do, because the feds are not nice people. Okay? I dealt with it. So I'm just saying, I'm just asking a question to think it through.
Yes.
And we're not talking about all the other stuff, but again, if you're out front, you've got to be able to get in. So that if the gates are open, that's fine, but visitors going to still have to be able to come around, because like the cars are parked here, you have 5 employees, you got 5 spaces showing here. And then their access to get out, they're going to have to back up to go back out. If that other gate is, and you're not going to put a driveway there, they're going to have to come back out where they came in. Am I right? Unless you're going to go on the dirt and come out and come on the dirt and come out on the street. Is that the plan?
So I think where each gate is, the entranceway, there's probably 6 to 8 feet of gravel. And we do have some neighbors that have just poured concrete to make it a smooth transition from the road up to the main driveway. I think the issue is that we have to speak with the city in order to make that easement accessible and for us to pour concrete to make it smooth from the street to the driveway. But it is something that we're looking at doing.
So good evening, commissioners. One item just to let you guys know, there is an ordinance with the city of Paris where this is technically a deferred street section of the city. So you see that whole Sunny Sand Street, there are no sidewalk, curb and gutter, anything of that nature. So typically any development that comes in, we require them to build the sidewalk, frontage, parkway, all that. But because this is in the deferred street section of the city, that is not a requirement for this project site.
I guess from entering that north gate, the one to the north, which is not shown, paving it just to get to the street. When I'm talking about sidewalk gutters and all the usual stuff, it costs a fortune. But you
Just,
come out of there and you have a slope there, would that not be a problem just to put a driveway to get to the street?
I mean,
Since
that's something, I don't know if the applicant would want to consider that. You're saying
I'm
just
just-
the asphalt driveway
Yeah,
approach to connect into the street? That's something, if the applicant would want to consider that, we could.
So we
look
have
into
to consider that, and that's and pretty much we have talked about of doing it. And I have asked building officials, hey, for your who to ask. So they guided me to engineering. So it's in the works. So essentially, our goal is to have either asphalt or concrete curb and gutter. I mean,
Okay.
even though it's not required, but essentially we're gonna do it.
Well, yeah, I guess my thing is just to get from there to the street.
Yes.
Just like on the other side. Could you go back to the picture of the front there? Oh, is that the front? I can't tell now. I mean the actual picture of the. Almost. Okay, yeah. You see there. It's just you have it up to the just underneath the fence, and if that just went to the street, that's all I'm talking about. No, there's no sidewalk, no anything else.
So, sir, I think because it has been approved, 12 up to 16, with the inside of the premises having concrete driveway all the way up, they can pull up to the driveway and people can get out and wheel themselves in. But we also are more open to the option of adding from the street, making that a complete smooth
Yeah,
surface.
yeah. That's all I meant. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, go ahead. I took up a lot of their time.
So the actual drive into the property is concrete and not DG?
Yes, sir. All concrete.
Okay. My concern is as well is with the fire trucks and fire truck access. If it is being parked out at the, can't always say they're going to be pulled out front of the property, but can this property provide the 150-foot required hose pull? Is my concern as well.
Yes, sir. So for a hydrant, our supply line, we have up to 1,100 feet in the engine. To pull a fire line, a fire attack line, the minimum is 150. And then we have a 200, 250. And we also carry hose bundles that are an additional 100 and 200 feet.
Yeah, but it's required for a minimum 150 feet. And it's requested, you can see if the fire marshal will allow larger hose pulls.
Yes, but
But normally it's 150 feet.
yes, sir. 150 feet will reach this front door of the residence and
But
make an interior attack
will it
line.
wrap around the back of the house?
So for those, it's not a primary attack line. It's called a deep stretch, so it's a 2.5 inch. And those are extended all the way back to the back of the house, and then a fire attack line is connected to those.
So that's my concern, is that, as long as they can meet the fire marshal's requirement of a 150 hose foot pull, right?
Yes, sir.
Is the applicant open to maybe not 18 beds, but 16, maybe 15, or is it 18 or nothing?
Yes, ma'am. We were already approved for 16, and so we're just trying to, or
We're not
we
at
were
12.
For 12.
Yes.
That's right. And
Yes.
we were just requesting the additional 8 to help with the ongoing problem of people staying in hospitals and hallways, helping the number of patients that can get to a better acute facility than going to an assisted living. And so I think we've tried to meet all the requirements for the city, and we're willing to do whatever we need to go ahead and make this work. Oh, yes, ma'am. What we did is, I'll let my wife come up here and talk. She's got a pretty good story of why we started this facility in the first place. We want it to be a place that, God forbid something happens to me or my wife, this would be a place that we wanted our family to go. So based on the state Title 22, for a one-bedroom, they require 110 square feet. We did 140. For the 2 bedrooms, I believe it was 140, and we did 160 or above to make it a nice place for them to live. And, God forbid our family has to go there, we'd be proud to have it.
Hello, I am Jamie Howder, Howder. I am actually a nurse practitioner. I'll give you a little rundown about why we like Paris, because we're actually from Yucaipa, but my dad, 40 years ago, was a Boy Scout leader, and he used to take Boy Scout troops up hiking in the hills of Paris. So my brother was a Boy Scout as well, became an Eagle Scout. And when we were looking for places to go, well, I'll give you a little run. I'm going to get emotional because my dad passed away. Being a nurse practitioner, I understand the hospital and how they push patients out. So my dad went into the hospital in July 2 years ago, and because of insurance reasons, he wasn't able to stay in the hospital very long. There was not any congregated health living facilities like what we're trying to open for him to go to. Luckily, my husband and I, we both care for patients. He is a firefighter and I'm a nurse practitioner. But we had jobs too, so he ended up going back home and then, of course, ended up right back in the hospital again, because when you get someone to come to your house to care for you, they're there maybe one time a day, maybe one time a week. And so if he would have went to a facility like this, where there was 24-hour nursing care, which I would have loved, he probably wouldn't have had the back and forth to the hospital, back home, back to the hospital, back home. He would have went to the hospital, went to a congregated health living facility like we would have, where he would have got appropriate care, hopefully from good nursing staff, because that is what I totally advocate for, is clean, smells good, and good nursing care. You're not sitting in your own pee and poop like he was in the hospital. And then hopefully they go home back to their families where their families can take care of them. My mom is 80 years old. There's no way if my dad fell on the floor that she would have been able to pick him up, right? So the only person that could actually pick him up was my husband. So when I thought about this, it actually was my idea, was to start this congregated health living facility. I just wanted a better place for patients to go where they can get good quality care. And that, to be honest with you, working in the hospital, visitors hardly ever even visit patients. I mean, the patients that are there, families hardly ever even visit them. You would hope to see that families would, but they're almost like forgotten about. And unfortunately, even in these congregated health living facilities, when they know that there's nursing staff there, it's sad. There's no patients that have family members that come visit them. So, that's my story. I just wanted to provide a better place for patients to go to with good care. And we thought Paris, I came back to this route. I don't know Paris at all, but, he loved the rocks, and this house, as you can see, has the biggest rock in the front. So I thought, okay, this is a blessing from him. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, I have one more question. Was there any reach out to the neighbors in that community?
There was a mail-outs that were sent for the 300 feet radius as required for a conditional use permit. I'm not sure if the applicant also reached out, if they would like to talk about it.
Do I introduce myself again?
No.
Okay. So we did have the mailers go out, and then myself personally and Mario and Jose, we went and spoke to everybody, and a lot of them were more than thrilled when we said, you have small kids, we're gonna have nurses here 24 hours a day. If you guys need any kind of medical care or anything happens, come on by. They're there 24 hours a day, someone's always awake. So they were thrilled. They were super actually excited. And then the mailer went out and everyone was fine with it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I did have one more question. So Title 22 does, and I wanted to check with staff to see if they verified that multiple multi-patient rooms is what they call them, have 7.4 square meters, 80 square feet of floor area per bed with 1 meter between beds. I think when I'm looking at this, there's usually more than the 3 meters. I just want to make sure that those 7.4 square meters of floor area per bed were met in each of the rooms. So I don't know if that was verified by staff. Because it's floor area, not including the bed.
For the rooms, correct? Yes, so this, this chapter for the residential care facilities doesn't specify how many, the size of the rooms. It would be based on what code would be for the actual building itself. It just indicates the maximum number, that it must have some area for them to be, which is the kitchen, and then they have another, they have a space there to be there. And the building official is here if he would like to talk more on the requirements for rooms.
If I can add to that, this facility will be subject to state requirements, so the state would actually make sure that they comply with all those requirements, not the city.
So even if we approved, if it didn't meet those requirements when the state came checked out, because I'm familiar with Title 22, they would not allow a second bed in a room if it did not meet those minimum requirements. Am I correct?
If we're fortunate enough here to pass your process and you issue the CUP, an application will be filed with the California Department of Public Health, and the CUP will be submitted along with a certificate of occupancy if the city requires it, and a clearance by the fire marshal. Once that occurs, they will schedule what's called a survey. Two nurses will come out from the state, the Riverside office. They will measuring tapes. They will measure the restroom access, the hallway access. They do a full inspection that takes the entire day. And they have to, at that point, they'll make a decision on licensing.
Okay.
It has to go, they become the regulator of the property at that point.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
It's actually crazy what the requirements are. I haven't done one of these facilities, but I've done a dentist's office, and they measure to the quarter or eighth of an inch, and it better be correct. So, question for parking. There's a, I don't know what page I'm on, 43 of 48. There's a shift in a schedule here. Here it says the largest shift is 5 people with respiratory and physical therapists as needed. However, in another diagram, it says parking is required for full-time staff plus operator of 6. So just trying to verify that 6 parking stalls is required.
Yes, so the code says for full-time employees. I'm not sure if the applicant would like to talk more about the as-needed therapy, as to how often they come on site, but the full-times would be the 5 employees. Yes.
But your document said 6 up front. 6
Oh,
spaces.
plus the
in your parking
operators.
analysis.
So in the table, it's 1 space for 1 employee on the largest shift, and including in 1 operator. So the other one
Would
would be
6.
the operator, which would be 6 required, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Anything?
Quiet on this one.
Okay. Thank you very much. And at this time, unless there's any more questions, we open it up for public comment on this agenda item. Anyone wishing to come to the desk, the rostrum, on this agenda item and this item only is welcome to do so at this time. Seeing no public comment, we close the public comment, public hearing, and bring it to the discussion, an analysis, and whatever you want to say.
Just want to start off by thanking the applicant. I really appreciate you guys' story and your reasons for doing this, and for choosing Paris to bring a healthcare provider. My main concern was obviously the parking, just the safety of travel within the facility, and the congestion that can cause with the stacking of the parking, the cars. I do understand that you guys are within the required parking spaces for the city, and that fire did approve this project as well. So I guess I understand the parking situation. But I do agree with Commissioner Hammond or Chair Hammond with the driveway. If that's something that you guys are willing to do, I think we would love to put that as a condition. And no further comments.
I also want to thank you for your story. Before you even said it, I wrote down here too, to remember to mention how I really appreciate you bringing this type of development to Paris. My own father spent a certain amount of time in a hospital hallway, so I know you're not being hyperbolic when you say that, because it does happen, and it's happened to me and my family. And if something like this were so close by, it's fairly close to my own home. So I do really appreciate you bringing that development to Paris, you employing, higher paying jobs in Paris, and I really, really appreciate that. I do have a lot of the same concerns about the parking, as Isaac said, and most of my fellow commissioners have said, with the stacking, that I have a hard time squaring that up. But the rest of the project I do appreciate, and I do want to echo the sentiment that if we can somehow concrete or asphalt that entryway to increase mobility, that would be wonderful. But thank you.
My concern is as well with the parking, and I would like to actually see provided designated striped parking stalls for the 6 required parking. I would like to see that added to the site instead of having this tandem parking on there. My concern is also with the septic system and verifying that the septic system is currently adequate and will be adequate for the additional needs for the facility. And then I think my final concern for this one is there is no waste receptacle or trash receptacles or anything on this site for, I understand that it's more of a residential community, but their waste is all going to be stored inside all the time. Is my concern. Maybe there's something that can store additional bins or something like that placed on site.
We can certainly work with the applicant. A commercial bin dumpster wouldn't be appropriate because we want to continue having that residential character for this use. But definitely we can work with the applicant and is it waste management?
Managing the waste generation.
CRNR to see for any additional bins that could be provided for this use.
Because it's medical, like you're saying, we're not talking about the usual medical stuff that's enclosed with PIP. That's stuff that you normally would deal with. I think that's
hazardous
more,
waste.
because you can't just, like I said, you can't just throw it out to legal. So anyway, I think that's more. Obviously, we're not talking about it. Yeah, I don't think we're talking about a bin.
Yeah, I think that's important as well. But I do really appreciate the applicant coming in and providing the service to the city of Paris. It's always a necessity as we continue to age. It's unfortunate that sometimes the residents here are sometimes forgotten. I wish that would never occur. I got out there. My grandfather, when he was in there, I was out there at least once a week seeing him. Driving. He was actually in Placentia, and I made the drive to go out there and see him. So it's good for them mentally and physically to have a family member to go to visit them. So but I appreciate you guys providing the opportunity for City of Paris.
First of all, I am very sorry for your loss. So that, that was a story that really touched, and even I was glad you left the rock there because I think it really added character to it, and now I understand why. First of all, I'm happy that this type of development is coming to the city of Paris. I'm very lucky. I have a lot of friends that are nurses, so my mom was septic. She needed insulin after that, so I kind of became a pseudo nurse, and I was calling everybody at like 2 in the morning, rotating them out for the insulin and tracking. So we've all had experiences like that where I would have felt better if she was at a place where there's professionals there at all time that knew what they were doing instead of me murking it all up. I also really appreciate that we always ask for more professional employment opportunities within the city, and this is going to provide that. I also appreciate that it's being done by professionals who are in this field of the care of people and taking care of people in different situations. So I think that lens really adds to it. My concern was, I've had my grandma was in a place like this before she passed away. And I remember the mobility with the wheelchairs was not always there. I remember it was hard to when both patients were trying to get in and out and they needed to potty all at the same time, because that's what elderly do, I guess, for fun. So it was hard to maneuver them around. So that was my concern with the sizing, not so much that we don't want more beds, more concerned with, I've been there when, oh my God, my daughter, remember the name, Lucy was trying to get out and I was trying to wheel my grandma in, and Lucy was quite stubborn. So that was my concern more than the number of beds, just making sure that we have that. But it eases my mind to know that it's not just us overseeing it, but there's going to be people from the state coming in, measuring, and really going through it with a fine-tooth comb. So thank you.
I get the last say. Yeah, this was a no-brainer for me. We just ask questions because this is a commission. We are very detailed, so don't take it away. We're going to detail anybody, even the city we beat up when they come before us. So they know where it can be really tough. But we're tough because we want the best for this city. I can say right now there's not enough of these. I won't say the name of the hospital that my mother had to go to, but it was like a cattle stampede. And so you throw them out of the hospital. It's for the ones that say you only spend 2 days, get over there. And you might as well just go, in the bucket. So, there's nothing. And when I start seeing nurses and things like that, cleanliness is number one, but the fact that you have this kind of people there makes a difference. And I think knowing the state the way they are, but the thing is that we need probably several more of these. So I'm going to push you. Okay? If there's other locations, get more of these, because there's no way you can have enough of these. We're not going to do I will say the city of Los Angeles, where people just drop people off in their gowns and robes and put them on the street and say, go find the place. And it ended up on the news, and I was in Los Angeles, and I worked for them. Said, you got to be kidding, right? They didn't care, drop them off. Okay, you're out of the hospital, see you later, bums. And so the person's wandering around, and you see this, because I work downtown. I said, you got to be kidding. How evil is that? They didn't care. Get them out of my hospital. So, I can't say enough about the fact that we need this. This area is rural, and it's away from main things, so you can, it can do a lot more because it is away. So you don't have the noise and congestion that you would have if you were on Paris Boulevard. But I really appreciate that. I think the only thing I would add, I'm going to be very short. I just think we talked about some things, and I think a concrete thing is probably the minimal thing. For me, a concrete thing coming on both sides would make a big difference. And I think out front, it's rural, you're not going to change the street, but still, you could still have that to the street. That's really just kind of a basic thing for us. And as far as, and I think he mentioned some good things, trash receptacle, the medical trash stuff, you can't put it in a CNR can. No, it has to be closed. All the routine has to be. So that would be it for me. And again, I appreciate it. I appreciate your story. Appreciate Paris. Paris is a wonderful city. 40 years ago, you'd have had 2,000 people. I was here 30 years ago, and you wouldn't even recognize it. Not even a chance, But now we've evolved. And we've got commissioners like this now. We're really good. And so you're in a great city. So thanks for choosing Paris. And just to let you know, it was not really a concern of mine whether it was going to go through for me. It's just we just tweak a few things, and that's about it. But you almost have to expect that out of this commission. We went kind of light tonight, too, so we were pretty easy. Usually, but not always. But anyway, with that, is there anything else? Okay.
So there, I was just flashing through the general conditions, and I did have a concern with one or two items. Item 10 is that for more than 16 people, including staff, the structure should be upgraded to comply with the requirements of occupancy R 2.1 and the construction of 5A construction. That's pretty substantial to come up to code to a 5A construction. Everything's a 1-hour rated wall, including exterior walls. So that's a concern. And then number 8 is the R4. An occupancy of R4 will allow up to 16 ambulatory clients, a maximum of 6 non-ambulatory clients. On the front page, it actually says that there's 18 non-ambulatory. So that's a concern too, that I just flipping through these real fast.
Thank you for bringing those conditions to everyone's attention, Commissioners, Vice Chair Shively. The applicant is aware of those requirements, and they are aware that anything beyond 16 patients is going to require significant additional improvements to the facility, and they have no objections to the conditions of approval.
Okay. In essence, even if, for whatever reason, if we were to happen to approve this, in order for occupancy, would you have to have the state sign off, or would that be something the city can do, and then it goes it's up to the state in terms of their regs and their requirements? Yes, sir. Especially with childcare, you have to have the state sign off and the license on the wall, and you're not going anywhere in there until you get that.
Hello, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Jorge Caballero, I'm the building official and the fire marshal for the city. I have talked to the applicants, and they are aware they have to comply with these requirements. I will not allow them to have more than 16 people there. If they don't comply with the new construction type, they need to reinforce it. Also, R4 type, as mentioned there, allow only 6 bedridden patients. If they need more than that, or they're gonna have more than 6 bedridden patients, they will need to comply with the requirements of the residential 2.1. That means that all walls, ceiling, roof has to be 1 hour fire resistant. The reason for this is bedridden people require more time for evacuation, and the 1 hour fire resistant wall and ceilings is gonna allow the attendants to help these people to get out of the building. So they had to pass through the requirements of the city first before go to the requirements of the state.
I appreciate your clarifications on that as well. I mean, that is definitely my concern as well, because they're non-ambulatory. Everybody needs help getting out. So.
Right.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, it's a resident architect, so yeah. To our resident architect. Okay. Let's see. If there's no more discussion, we go back and summarize. Item 6A, conditional use permit 25-00001. Proposal to increase the capacity of an existing congregated living health facility, Sunny Sands Manor, from 12 to 18 patients. Located at 2263 Sunny Sands Drive on the east side of Sunny Sands Drive between Mountain Avenue and Mapes Road in the R10,000 zone. The requested action is adopt resolution 25-06, approving conditional use permit 25-00001 to increase the capacity of an existing congregated living health facility from 12 to 18 patients based on the findings herein, subject to condition of approval, of which we'd added some amendments. One of them obviously considering the creation of a driveway. Not a sidewalk, but a driveway from the fence to the north to the street. No gutters, no anything else, just a driveway, paved driveway. What about the other driveway? Yeah. Well, I mean, just that one driveway. We don't have to worry about the other. Okay. The striped parking, a consideration to designate spaces. We have to work with that one, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll get there. Yeah, because we did say fixed spaces. I'm kind of problem with the stack. But anyway, parking spaces that would be designated in stripe, trash receptacles fitting to a medical facility that would be acceptable, not just us, but also the state. And I think there might have been one other thing. I'm not sure, but I think that was it. Okay.
Did you mention the condition that Vice Chair recommended about the septic tanks?
Yeah, I missed that with the septic tanks. Okay. Was that on the plan, though? That wasn't. Okay. Okay, okay. And the septic tank. Okay. That should be 4. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Vice Chair Shively,
I second.
seconded by Commissioner Jimenez.
Commissioner Menez,
Yes?
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes.
With a vote of 5-0, this motion is approved.
Thank you very much. Good luck. And get started. At this time, we move on to item 7, public comments. Anyone in the public wishing to address the Planning Commission on any item not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Guys, so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much.
Seeing no public comment, we'll close the public comment portion and move on to business items. No business items, right? Okay, okay, no business item. We move on to item 9, commission members' announcements or reports.
Have a good night. The long-awaited health fair is finally here this Saturday. The 5K color run. You can still register online, or you could register the day of. If you register online, you get a $5 discount. So might as well just do it early. But so I'll be there. Hopefully, a lot of the residents can still go out and attend. It's a fun event every year. It seems like it gets bigger and bigger every year. So I really do encourage people to go. And besides that, I have no other announcements. And I hope everybody has a good night.
Ditto on the excitement for the fun run. And I mean, $5 t-shirt, you know, at least do it for that. No, I'm really excited. And you're right. It is growing every single year. I think last year, it was the biggest, huge. I'm really excited for it. I have been attending them since the very first one when it was just Railway Elementary and I was attending it like as a student, like I was in elementary. And so it's really cool to see what it's become and maintain that tradition of going to almost everyone. Minus a couple years there in the middle from college, but like other than that, that's what I have. I'm just really excited for that on this Saturday. Register early. That's what I got.
Fine. Okay. Announcements. We also have the Breakfast with Bunny coming up on Saturday, April 12th. There's 2 seating slots, egg hunt. I won't be able to attend. One of my daughter's friends invited me to his art show, so I had previous commitments, and I do want to give a shout out to the 2 little ones in the back. It's my daughter Sara and her friend Kivante, who very, very patiently sat through all this excitement. So it's nice. Maybe one day one of them will end up here or tell their friends that they can be the traffic person, be the attorney, be the department manager. So it's nice to see young kids. I did want to give a shout out to Rancho Verdes. You guys know I'm a band parent, their color guard, who has been doing amazing up to now and on the way to finals. And a huge shout out to the Winter Drumline, who did an amazing job at Champs. Like, I cried. And it takes a lot to make me cry, but when they were done with that show, I was literally up there crying. It was such a beautiful show. They're going to be performing all the shows for the district on Thursday, April 10th, I think at Rancho Verde High School at 6 o'clock. So if you want to see like what our kids are doing and the amazing things they're doing, stop by Rancho, watch. It's like the district showcase. So all the high schools in the district bring out what they did during the spring season. So looking forward to seeing some of our community members there.
Well, I'll be sharing my time this weekend with my daughter's color guard. And then also the event at the city. So but look forward to doing both. I won't be doing the 5K though.
No.
Yeah, I don't, it's the balance of time between for both of them, so. But I appreciate it, and I will be in attendance.
Very good. Yeah, we'll watch you do it and cheer you on. Yeah, throw one. Really encouraging group, right? Yeah, I really, I plan to be there. I also want to say that I went to the Copper Creek reopening. All 5 council people were there, and there was quite a few people there. A mural, if you haven't been there, do it tomorrow or this week and go watch the mural, which would be the envy of every state in the United States. It's at least 250 to 300-foot mural, professionally done, and there's nothing like it I've ever seen. I've worked in LA, nothing like it. So it's the most beautiful mural. The park is all green grass. Oh, they got that by EMWD, I don't know. But it's all green grass. It's beautiful. Kids were playing. And I think they have, not sure about night lighting. I'm not sure, but they probably will. But it is absolutely beautiful and well done. And the play areas for kids, I'm too old to get on that stuff, so. But it was nice, a little soft thing they could bounce off and they get on the playground. So I can't believe how many people were there. Nothing beats Enchanted. There was 1,000 people there. But it was these 200 or so, you know. And so it's another pride thing that we have in Paris. It just, there's that particular park, the one on Placentia, and there's, others in that area. I think we're just moving up on parks. And I think we're going to get to 30 because I think there's some other things that will be added to the community gardens. So we'll probably get up to 30. We can brag because there's 81,000 people in 30 parks. Wow, So just think per capita how many parks it is. Yeah. But yeah, so we saw the artist and the guy, I forgot how much it was he paid for that mural, but whatever they paid, it was worth it. And I don't say that lightly. I've never seen anything like that. And kids from schools in that area were also contributed the designs and things like that, but it's professionally done. I think he was there. And you said you're going to run the 5K, right? Yeah. Yeah, I caught him on that one. But yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, and we have some beautiful parks. In Foss, in about a year, we'll probably be finished, and that'll be the envy of the city, because that would only be seconded by Enchanted. And that would be the only thing that would rival the park in Foss. There's 13, 14 items in there. Forget it. There's no rival in the city. I mean, that is beautiful. But it should. It's your main park on your main street. So again, I'm happy to see the city of Paris making a lot of progress. I'm pretty sure Raising Cane's will be open soon for those. But I know, but I'm not saying any dates. But anyway, we're going progress, and that's the main thing. We're making progress. Thank you to our city attorney. We didn't chase you away, so be And with that, I don't have any more announcements. We really appreciate it, guys. And our IT staff, who say, oh, he didn't say that. I just said it, okay? And we do have an interpreter. I think there's new, I'm not sure who it is, but they're there. But anyway, thank you very much. We move on to the planning manager reports and/or information.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, commissioners. I just would like to, for those community members that don't know, we'd like to extend an invitation to the annual health fair this coming Saturday. It's going to be a fun event to come and join us and enjoy the weekend with the families. Also, We're going to have breakfast with the bunny on April 12th, which was mentioned by Commissioner Jimenez. For the health fair, come on early because parking is a challenge. So that's one recommendation. For upcoming items, for April 16th, we have 2 items. One of them is the workshop for the Paris Theater. And we also have a major modification for a warehouse. They're modifying the loading area. And those are the only 2 items that I have to report. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think there was something on March 26th here that they had, and I missed it for the theater, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
There's a
that
lot of
was-
cars parked out there, but I just, it's okay.
Yeah.
Good, it's going to come before us. Okay. We'll be semi-nice to them.
Patricia, was the next meetings for the April 16th?
Yes,
Okay,
April
thank you.
16th.
And thank you, Sylvia, as always. You know, we're 3 hours short, so, you know, we can extend it if you want. Yeah. Think so, no. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, staff. Thank you, all the staff. We appreciate it. Thank you, Brad, even you. We appreciate it. Engineer, I could pick on engineering because they're just one of my favorite people. They really are. I mean, I just really appreciate the professionalism and the fact that they're so easy to work with and deal with as people. Who's this? You didn't pay. You didn't pay enough. You got to pay some. No freebies here, okay? No, thank you. You guys do a good job. They really do. And with that, unless there's any objections, we will meet on, well, actually Saturday would be good if we see people. But our official meeting will be the 16th. And hopefully we should all be there and be excited. The Paris Theater. It's been years in the making, right? Okay. With that, we adjourn. Again, pick anybody you want. Who's going to, unless you have an objection. And with that, thank you. And thank you to our audience, YouTube, and a good night.